Hey, Paul.
Hi, hi.
Jonathan. Hey, hey. All right. Jonathan, what's going on? Good to see you. Hi, Gary. All right. I like hosting these again. Federico, nice to see you. Hello from Italy.
Ciao.
Ciao. Hi, Amy. How are you? Long time no see.
Thank you.
Caleb, nice to see you again. Glad to have you back. Hi, Alex. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Johnson. All right. I'm going to give folks a little bit of time to sign in. Um, but how y'all doing? Mhm. All right, good. I'm excited to talk about. I asked a few more questions this time, just getting people onboarded. So this will be more specific to what you guys are looking for. And I think it's been a little bit of time since I've seen some of you for some of these updates. So we'll share some updates as we get started. But all right, there's Francis. Francis and I are actually in the same location, which is unusual these days. So it's great to be actually just in the next room. Over,
Is there
he's over there.
the other way
Right.
from the Zoom camera
Yeah,
perspective?
first. Anyway, nice to see you, everyone. Okay. All right, we're just a minute in. I won't dive in just quite yet, but you know, so I would be interested in just having a quick conversation. If what you guys are like, any new like discoveries you've had or things you'd like to try out on AI these days, or problems you haven't been able to solve recently. If you tried some things, Amy,
Other than STS.
what's that?
Other than STS.
Yes. Good. All right. So,
From my part, I can say that a few weeks ago I saw a presentation from an American guy living in Portugal. And the guy the name is Stefan, sorry, Stefan Waterhouse. And the guy explained about the decentralized AI
mm,
and AI with Web3. And the guy gave me this, the name it's Nazaré. It's a famous place in Portugal.
yeah.
But the guy, I think it's this, explain, I don't so, the decentralized physical infrastructure they call the PIN, and was the first time that I saw approach to decentralize AI because it's like decentralized the training.
Mm,
It's my understanding. I'm not expert in this area. You know more than me.
oh,
But the idea, it's in certain way you have a model, but the training, it's apart from the owner of the LMS. And to create the training, decentralized training apart from the same guy that create the data center and have the machines and this kind of thing. And for me, it was funny, and also the guy begins the show say that in Europe forget AI because the new regulation, it's like to forbidden anyone to create AI in Europe because it's like a state of the heart of the state and came the state and you need to speak with the state. The state, it's like today above God. above God. And the guy is, it's impossible in Europe to develop AI with this regulation. And the only way is to create a decentralized AI, and no one's know who are the owner of this.
Right. Well, I guess we won't solve all problems on this call today.
Not
uh,
not all of them. Some, maybe.
but
Thank you, Eduardo. If you have the like the LinkedIn profile or website of that gentleman, we'll
I,
have a look.
I will see right now.
Right. Thank you.
great. Thanks, Eduardo. And I do want to get into like the specifics that you guys have basically registered with. But so Jonathan, you might have something because I don't know if I had your response in front.
Yeah, this is a lot more down to earth. So I'm just saying this is a on the scheme of things, it's really low level.
Right.
But this is using Claude AI
Mm,
to make a future retrospective story.
mm.
So that's a story based in the future, looking back, but then looking forward again to an optimistic future in politics and sustainability. And but the result is those have been the most popular, most impressions on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah. Okay. For you.
So just
For you.
the really tiny practical thing, a future retrospective story catches catches the imagination, and you can sneak your message in a story without them noticing.
Nice. I
Is
like.
it?
Sorry, was there a question? So Jonathan, share that post in the chat, and we'll check it out. I'd be curious to see because I think all of us are interested in how we can improve performance on LinkedIn. All right, well let me jump into the webinar, or basically an interactive session that we're designing really with you guys. So what I'll cover an agenda really quickly, but what I want to make sure that we all do is we're able to access the board that we're going to work in during the next, say, 45 minutes or so. So I was able to add most of you to the webinar team. So just to get this quick logistics out of the way, I'll share my screen and I'll tell you what we're going to do. So you can see this is the webinar for today, April 1st, 2025. We're going to go through like basically what I've done is I've added the context of the webinar itself. I've captured your interest from when you registered for it. And then I used STS to basically prioritize and categorize what your responses were. So number one was the utilization and skills development within STS. So that's great. So that we will definitely spend a majority of our time just making sure, my main objective is make sure that you guys know how to use this tool effectively to do whatever it is you need to do. So we'll talk about the different use cases, and go through the basic functionality. Francis is going to cover some of the main updates that we've had, which has been amazing. This has been an incredible first quarter for us in terms of advancement of STS itself. So I want to make sure not only you know how to use the basics, but also the advanced features. And then we'll get into maybe some strategic planning. This is the tool we created to begin with. It's Francis' first idea behind this is really to help people do better strategic thinking and decision making. So we'll obviously get into that. And then I covered the tool enhancements. And these are the specifics that you guys had listed. And actually, since I'm here, I'll show you how I did this. So in this board itself, I can open the AI tab, and I just simply connected this colleague here, which is ChatGPT standard, which is 4.0. So that's the basic one that we're connecting to these lists. So this is the interest you guys had. I could connect it to the description. You can see that's a list name right here. And then once I've done that, I can choose the AI that I want to kind of utilize. I'll go into this more in a minute, but then I can just simply ask to say prioritize, categorize, and prioritize. And this is the response that I got. So that we use this, like the first time we ever used something like this within an STS meeting, it made a huge impact on our team. We were doing a strategic planning. We had a lot of ideas on the table, and really, you know how it is when you're floating ideas with a team, like everybody here can add their own card, add their own idea, and after a while it can get a little overwhelming. You have a whole lot of stuff. Just like I had a lot of interest from all of you guys, and I just wanted a little bit of help kind of categorizing them and then prioritizing them. So that's all I did. I asked for priority and categorization, and I got this nice little list, and away we go. So that really works well within a meeting context. Okay, so I'll come back to this in a second, but and stop me if you have any questions there. But I want to, in the meantime, make sure that all of you are in this team. So if you guys are able to access this link, I'll drop it in the chat. If you aren't able to access it, just drop your email in the chat. Thanks, Jennifer. Anybody not able to access that?
I was afraid to click on the April 1st webinar in case it was an April 1st joke.
Oh, damn, I should have.
No, we don't do jokes here. It's against our policies.
Definitely against our
And
policy.
yes, that was a joke.
Okay, Alex, thank you. Do you want to drop your email? You can just DM it to me, and I'll add you to the, or Francis can do it.
I'll do it.
Thank you. Okay, I'll send it to you, Francis. Okay, anybody else? Thanks, Mark. Rico, excellent. All right, I think everybody's in then. Welcome, Priya. Okay, so once you're here, then just click on the folder itself, and then you'll see the webinar here, and then you can access it. You can see other ones we've had in the past. There's lots here, but we're going to focus on the webinar itself. Okay, cool. Laura, you're in?
Yes, I'm in. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. All right, great. So how many of you have used like STS maybe, you know, a couple times, maybe 5 times total, 5 or more times? Paul, Jonathan, Gary, definitely, Odorico. Okay, Amy, anybody brand new that's never accessed a board or started to play around with it? So everybody's had some experience working with a board, yeah? Okay, good. So,
by the way, Alex should have access now.
Okay, great. Alex, give us a thumbs up or just let us know once you're in. Thanks, Francis. Okay, how many of you have made, those of you that have been working with it, have made, like, say, your own team or maybe your own folder and added boards to it? Anybody have any trouble doing that? It's like creating your own folder, like here in this section here. Like I'm in a folder right now, as you can see. I can go from the webinar team. So this is the teams. So you can see on the left here, I have teams and folders. I'm in the webinar team. Going to the folder itself, then I have all these different boards. And I want to bring your attention to one new feature of this year, is that you can actually create another folder within a folder. So let's say this would be a good idea, right? So I could basically create a webinar folder for like everything from 2024. So this would be a good way to start to organize things in here, because it's getting pretty full in here. So if I have a folder 2024, I can start moving all of these existing boards into that folder to better organize everything. And so now that that's created, I can actually go, so this one's in 2024. I can click here and I can move it. So this is another great feature. I can click on the three dots, click on move, and now I can move it to the folder that I want to move it to. So 2024, there it is. And then just hit move folder and or move board, and there it goes. Now it's in folder. So I can start to clean up things, make it a little bit more organized, because the more you work with this, as you can see, you start to get a little bit of clutter, but this will keep things a lot more organized for you. So does everybody see that? Any issues? See how you can do that? Okay. That also too, like I just point out that, one of the security you might have concerns around security within, let's say, your team. If you're, say, a leadership and you don't want everybody to have access to all of your boards, you can create a folder or a team that's just you and maybe the leadership team. And then you can make sure that your boards are in the folder that only your team has access to. So I will point out that you might, like, I might want to move this to another folder that I have access to, but let's say I move it to AMA, and nobody else here has access to this team or folder. So I would be essentially removing your access from that board. So just keep that in mind when you move it from one folder to another folder. Just make sure that the same people that you want to have access still have access once you've moved it to a new folder. Okay. All right, cool. So once you're in the board, everybody here knows that you can create a new board or a new folder now. And you can create from a file here or from the different templates. So I did want to spend just a second talking about the from file. Is everybody's familiar with how to create backups within STS? So if you've never done this before, this is an important point to go over. So here within, I'm going to go back out to this webinar folder or this board. I'm going to make a copy of this one, because all of us are going to be working in this. So I want to make sure that I save the original of the board itself, because as all of us are going to be working in this, one of us may inadvertently delete a column or maybe one of these frames or make a change, and we want to go back and basically reinstate the original. So right now, I strongly recommend you get into the habit of saving the boards whenever you can. So save it when you save it. And then now that I'm going to go back to the, like, say, folder that I want to have the backup in, create a new one, create the board, and then go from file. So wherever it downloads it is where you can find it. So I'm going to just say this is the backup, and I'm going to create that board from the backup. So here it is. I'm going to move it up here. This is another nice feature. You can now move. So you can not only can you move boards between folders, you can now organize just by clicking and dragging on the right side or the left side, excuse me. So I'm going to put that one second to this one. So now I have a backup. So this is creating a border from file. Okay. So super important when you're sharing your work, you start to work collaboratively to, like, save your work as you're going. And do this too on your own. Like when you start to work on your own, sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes you want to go back to a previous version. So I always make a point to just click on that and it's done. And Francis, there's an update to this coming too, right?
Yep. Okay.
So you're gonna have more options here coming within a week or so. Okay. So now I have a backup. I can get started. So within this these are called frames. This is a list, and you can customize this any way you want. So so maybe Laura maybe or anybody else that maybe has explored this feature quite a bit, but just so you know that you can click on the frame and you can add to the left, right, above, or below. Personally, for me, you'll notice that as you work with me that I like to move from left to right. Like I have a project management background. I think like a Kanban, and I'm from the Western Hemisphere. I read from left to right. It just makes sense to me to go this direction. So as I continue to add boards, so I go from the original list here and I want to add things, I typically go from left to right. So just click on the frame itself and then you can add it. say to the right, and then now I have a new frame here. All right, that's the same with lists as well. So if I'm clicking here, it's now highlighted and I can click to the right. Okay, and so the important thing here is, and this is part of really our approach when it comes to doing strategic thinking and like solving complex problems, is that you want to be able to organize your information in a way that really makes sense to you. If you're trying to also like reproduce frameworks that you use day in and day out, you have a certain sequence of steps. This is the way you can build them out, and really we try to make it as simple as possible. So you just basically click and add and build as you go. And on the other side of it too, it's like, you can delete them. So just clicking on this column or this frame right here, I'm going to delete the frame column. If I delete the row, it's everything here. So I want to delete just the column. And so now that's gone. So any questions here? Any issues with that? Is that fairly intuitive? I'm also curious in your experience, everybody using it, like, is this been an easy for you to adapt and to start to use? And I'm opening up to any comment. Laura.
Yeah. No, I think it looks straightforward.
Okay, great. All right. So,
and the only comment I would make is I like the fact that you can hide some of those boards, because the more you get on the board, the more confusing it is to people, especially the earlier they are in the process.
Yeah, great point. So how do you handle that, Gary?
Well, we're just kind of dealing with it now, in that we've started to hide the boards and only use the ones that are, or the frames, the only ones that are appropriate to that particular client.
One of the nice things that we've had pretty recently is the ability to, you can actually move the board, like some of that content to another board. And then from your board, that when you interact with the client, you can actually reference the content on the other board. So the AI can see it, even though it's not in the screen. So that's pretty powerful.
That's good. Simplification is great when you're working at
less is more.
high level. Yeah.
So actually, I'll use that as a maybe this would be a good time to share that, Francis. So I'm just gonna make up a use case here, and I want to get into the specifics for you guys here shortly. But let's just say I'm going to use this board for creating future webinars. So I have this actually wouldn't be a bad idea for me. Like, I have a description of the webinar that we have today, and I have like interest from you guys. And as I go through this, I'm going to say, okay, let's say we covered quite a few things, but let's say we missed a few. And it's like, you know what, HR and search, and I'd like to know who put that in, because I want to know what that means. And maybe we can actually create a whole webinar for HR and searching. But okay, so that's a good idea. So what I could do is I could, come over to, say, my AI tab. I'm going to click on, say, the webinar description, and I'll include the registered interests for now. But let's say I could say, help me think through a webinar description talking about HR and STS. But before I do that, I don't think I have enough information about STS here, right? So what I want to do is I want to include, and this is another big feature about STS and the platform. This is a big update that Francis has given us this year, is that now I can go to another board that's not, I can pull context from another board. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm in webinar April 1st here, but I can add other boards from other folders, or so I can bring in context from other places. And I've already added one. You'll see it in the folder itself. It's STS Agentic and Copilot AI, and there is a list in there called About Us. And so I'm going to confirm that. I'm going to save that. And now whenever I make a query, it will pull from About Us, which is information about STS that I've already used for another purpose. and it will all have this context as well. And so I'd be curious to see what it comes up with here. But does that make sense? So what I'm doing is I'm building out a board with context about our business. I'm attaching it to this board, so I don't have to do that every single time I create a new board, and which is really useful for like sales, for marketing strategy, for any growth strategies, for anything where creating a new deck, what have you, anything where you need the context of your business, you can just pull it into this board super easily. Cool. So now I have a new description. It's in a collaborative.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The idea is to create like a global dashboard for the companies.
A global dashboard. I wouldn't think of it that way. Francis, go ahead.
Yeah. So the short answer is yes, Eduardo. The longer answer is that people have thought for a while that the more information the AI has, the better it is. But we've all experienced ourselves now that it's not the case. Sometimes the more information you give to the AI, the more opportunities it has to get confused, right? So the whole point of STS is that you can have those very focused lists, and yes, you can think of that as a dashboard of the organization. You could have, like, for example, like contact details of your coworkers. You could have, the strategy plan for last year. You could have the sales projections for this year. And then when you ask a question to the AI, you can pick and choose which one of these pieces of content you want the AI to see when they answer the question, right? It's not about giving it everything. It's about, yes, you should put as much as possible, all the information that might be relevant, you should put that in various boards and lists. But then when you ask the question to the AI, you can very precisely curate what context that AI will be considering when answering that question. And I find that this makes a big difference when you do that very precise curation of the context. Lauro?
Yes. So if I'm understanding correctly, this another way to see this is like is to create a very well-structured prompt.
Yep.
So like a prompt engineering template.
It's funny you said that, because we presented STS to a large bank in Australia last week, and one of the person on it's essentially the team that is responsible for implementing AI for project management at the bank, and they said they were very surprised that your prompt seems very simple, right? Like we're accustomed to doing those very complex, like multi-part prompts, and it's not natural. But when they saw the demonstration that we did, it felt like we were just asking like simple questions, like how should I structure this plan, or like something very simple like that. But if you've already created like a list where there's all of your standard way of structuring a project, you don't need to provide that information, right? You just ask the question, and AI knows about that, and it answers, right? So yes, the behind the scene, what happens is that we take the questions that you ask, and then we attach to it all of those lists, all of those like dashboard, to use Eduardo's term of content that we think is relevant for our question. So we attach that and send it as part of a meta prompt, I called it. But from a user perspective, it's very simple.
So adding to what Francis is saying as well is to think of STS like you're building a long-term memory inside STS. And then based on the list that you select, which you're going to title in a way that is meaningful to you, you can access any element of that long-term memory that you've built. So it's almost building your own.
Put it into short-term memory.
Yeah, and then you pull it into short-term memory, and then you ask it questions. So you're almost building your own personalized LLM inside STS over time.
Isn't this the foundation for your agents?
Yes. It's actually the agents is an additional twist, but yes, it's the same concept. Actually, the way we build agents is that we create lists, and we when we create the big prompt that is actually sent to the LLM, we say, AI, this is who you are, and that's the agent. And then the other list that you pick when you ask the questions is, AI, this is what you see, right? So there's who you are, what you see, and then there's the question that I'm asking. And by separating these various elements, it's like you think of that of a like cognitive architecture, like how the AI should be organizing your information so that it knows how to interact with you in a meaningful way.
I can see how you can cross over silos with specific information from one of the agents to another one.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to hold you up here, but
No, but that's good.
I like your thinking and logic.
So the memory is one piece, and then the agent is the perspective that you take on the memory.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Perfect.
And you know, when you think about that, everyone is focused on the artificial part of artificial intelligence. But in our team, you know, with Priya and our background in psychology, and you know, our own experience as, you know, facilitating sessions and working with clients all of our career, like our focus is the human intelligence, and then we structure our AI or our interaction with AI to support that human intelligence.
Well, another question. You know, when we work in a company, each level or each person have their board.
Yep.
And when I talking about a global dashboard, usually we talking up. But in each level of the companies or the organizations, the people have different boards. And the idea is these different boards, if are coherent with the global dashboard. In certain way, sometimes I thinking about, for example, the autonomy we want to give to our workers or collaborators, give the name you want. And certainly this one person can have doubts if I decide to the right or the left, whatever, and to ask to AI if I have a doubt, what is the best decision front in this context that is aligned with, for example, the MTP of the company to help me because I have doubt. And I want to be aligned with the MTP, the company. For example, if
very good example.
If I have between a short-term decision and a long-term decision, maybe I don't care the money for tomorrow, but maybe I want the money for the next 2 or 3 years, and I can make a different decision. And it's like to give to this person the autonomy with this tool to make a decision with the help, but align with MTP.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, like the last address from the president that said, of the company that said, you know, for the next couple of quarters, we'll focus more on the short-term results than the longer-term investments. Then that can be trickled down and be part of what you make available to all of the boards for all of the employees in the company. Yeah.
Okay.
Very good example. Thank you.
Great, Francis. Do you want to just go right into? I see that you added, and you guys can see this as well. Francis has added a list of topics, tool enhancements, and use cases. So you have personal squad there, also ask and find. So do you want to just dive into some of those and get into the use cases?
And I don't know if there are a few people that have joined. I don't know if they all have access to the board also.
I'll drop it in the chat. Steve, I think you do. And Charlie should as well. So
I'm sorry, I'm in a new version of entire screen. Now I have it. Okay. Share. All right, so I'm sharing my entire screen. You should see the board now.
yeah.
Perfect. All right, excellent. So as Ben mentioned while he was introducing everyone, I just added this. So this new list. So essentially, I click here, add list to the right, and then it created this new list. And I listed some of the things that we've added recently. So I want to first tell you about ask and find. So for any one of you who've used STS for a while, so and myself and Priya, and then definitely fall into that category. You see here, that's all the content that I have available in STS. So that's a lot of content, right? And so one of the things that we did is that, if I want to talk about, let's say, sustainability, right? So, I have a folder and two boards that talk about sustainability, right? So I can basically just, if what are the demo that I did, or what did I do with Ben, for example? So I can really very quickly filter to where I want to go. But I can also ask things like, I don't know, like my favorite questions. What is 42, right? And in the future release, like right now, it's what's in the question, it goes to an AI, and if it's a keyword, it goes to the list. But in a not too distant future, probably in April, we're gonna have it so that when I ask what is 42, it will provide me an answer from the AI, but it will also figure out that, maybe if I have a board that is titled 42, or a team or a folder that talks about interesting numbers, then they should also show up here. So we're making that more and more useful. What's interesting is that I can also ask things like, how should I go about planning, right? So more maybe useful question. And so this is independent in a sense of any board. So wherever you are, and the motivation for that ask and find was twofold. One, Ben was having too many boards, needed help to find them. Second, another one of our good friends told me that he wanted to ask questions to an AI, and previously in STS, you had to create a board, create an AI, like do all these configuration steps. And so he decided to go to ChatGPT. So I wanted to make STS as easy, if not easier, than using ChatGPT. So whenever you are in the app, you click ask and find, you ask your questions, you get an answer. What you'll notice is that it does, in its answer, it addresses me like, hey, hello, Francis. So how does it know that I'm Francis? And then it provided an answer from the perspective of a strategy consultant. So why did it take that perspective? So if you look at the right-hand side here, there's a open the board where this colleague is configured, right? So this colleague here, AI colleague number 1, standard ChatGPT. If I click here, it brings me to this other board where I have told it that my name is Francis, and when answering my questions, consider the angle of strategy consultants, right? So imagine if you're like Gary, for example, you could add a sentence here that says, my name is Gary, so it will address you. And then when answering my questions, consider that I deliver, strategy services to CPA firms. And so all the answers that we'll get will be kind of influenced by that little statement here. So you don't have to repeat that every time. The other thing that I did, let me go back 2 steps here. No, this, right. So this is the things that I'm now back into the webinar folder. So this is a space that we all share. Everyone in this webinar, and I think even in previous webinar, we can all see this here. If I click to the AI tab, if I use that AI tab here, it is part of that board. So everyone will see the question I'm asking, the answers that I'm getting, and if someone else in this group asks a question in the same space, it will override the answer that I have here. So what I did is I essentially took the summary here. So I came here, I select all cards. So I selected all the cards here. I went to my ask and find, went to my colleague, and created a new list with the webinar participants' interest, and I copied the content here, right? I just copied the selected card and I copied them. It was a different version of the summary that I copied here. And so what I can do now is if I scroll down a little bit, you'll see that this is my AI colleague number one. So that's the same functionality that you've accustomed in standard board, but then I can tell it, instead of looking at the context, or in addition to the context, I can add webinar participants' interest and save. So I'm going to go back to the webinar. So now if I want to ask a question and I don't want to distract the webinar participants with the answers here, I can go to ask and find, and this is a private space. I'm the only one. I'm sharing my screen now, so you're seeing it. But if I was not sharing my screen, you could not see. What, let's say, should I talk about, right? And so now what it will do in that private space, that will not impact the board that everyone might be working on doing their thing. Maybe we're running a brainstorming session or whatnot. That board that we share will not be impacted by that question that I just asked. So that I kind of doing that in a private space separate from the board. And so given the context of myself as a strategy consultant named Francis and the interest of the webinar participants, this is how it provides, or gave me an action, like a plan, a course of action that is aligned with that. So that's the first thing I wanted to show you. So the Ask and Find is extremely powerful. As I said, it's a private space where you can find your other boards, and you can also configure it so that it's provide the most helpful answers for you. So the personal squad, going back to Ask and Find, actually everyone now has 4 AI colleagues that are the standard GPT. There's the strategist, there's a question assistant. So this and the help with STS. So help with STS, you can ask it things like how to I don't know, like move a card. I don't know if that's a proper question, but essentially that's a perspective that Priya has created with the intent of helping people help moving cards. See how to move a card, and then it knows that it's about STS because it's an AI that's been configured for that. So essentially, and it's giving me here information. So here on that drop-down list, you can ask any one of those 3 members of your AI squad, and those who are interested, like you can actually like personalize and change them. You don't have to stick with those 4. You can modify them, give them a different perspective, sales, finance, whatnot, and then you can create more also. And I won't cover that today, but if that's something that is of interest to you, this is something we can do. That's that. Mobile access. I just want to tell you very quickly. Obviously, you see that board. It has a lot of information on it. So STS was never intended to be a tool to use on the small screen of a cell phone, but sometimes it might be useful to be able to do that. So we just made it a slightly better experience. Again, to me, like the whole concept of STS and is to deploy information in the space, and the larger the screen, in my opinion, the better. But now it is workable on a mobile phone. So if you're on the bus or on a plane, with internet access, then you can start, reviewing your boards and moving things around. And that leads me to use case number one. So last week, Ben hosted a webinar in Montreal, not a webinar, sorry, an in-person event in Montreal. And what he did actually is that whenever people would come in the room, he will sign them up on STS. And then during the course of the evening at various points, we asked people to go to the app from their cell phone and interact with a board where we were brainstorming. And what Ben did is similar to what he did today. He had pre-populated a board with the various interests and the profile of the people attending the event. And then we could interrogate using the board from our cell phone, like who's interested in marketing in a room. And then it would give us, the list of 4 people, and it worked pretty well. So we're very pleased with how it went. Again, like SS is not intended for like deep thinking strategy work on a cell phone, but if you have to, it does work, and people added suggestions and responded to each other and all of that. So it was a great experience. Creating strategy assets. I just want to very briefly go through that. So this is a feature that is just around the corner. Like it's actually working. I just need to finish up the work to bring it into the tool in a coherent way. But this is an example of what we're getting out of that. And so I did have received permission from Gary to share that with you all today. But so this what I'm showing here is a strategic game plan. So this is what a format that Gary and his team are using when they do strategy planning for their clients with our CPA firms. And so they do brainstorming session, and then in the past they would try to use a Miro or Post-its, and at some point they needed to stop, and then someone had to essentially copy paste and structure and rewords and wordsmith and all that in order to create that document. Now what we can do is that we can do the brainstorming in STS, and then at the end of the process you push a button and then you get this document automatic. That document was actually generated from an STS board, which had a list for vision, one for mission statement, one for core values, and one for strategic objectives. And I can show you actually the board is here, ask and find, and Boomer. And then this is the data structure that I use, and you'll see at the end, you see here vision, mission statement, core values, and strategic objectives, and that's the content that's been used to generate that automatically. And the rest of the board was used to produce this table here. So like this entire table was done 100% based on the outcome of a board that simulated a strategy session with a hypothetical client. So that's one example. Thank you, Gary, for supporting us both financially, but also with the use case and the scenarios and the documents. And your team is a joy to work with. Another scenario I want to go through very quickly is so that was for a strategy session, a strategy asset. This is for a project asset. So this is anonymized, but that's an actual a project update document that is being remote, right? That is being used by that organization. And if you look at this segment here, that actually also came straight. Actually, every piece of content you see here is coming from an STS board, and that element here, they during a mock brainstorming session, we had come up with a a very long description of the initiative, and we use the AI in STS to come up with a smaller version, and then we edited it together. And then once we were happy, push a button, and then it generated the document that was then ready to share with the rest of the team. So really that export of a board to an asset is just like the last mile of efficiency. SCS core focus is still to think through, the big ideas. Like here, you see objective, key activities, the importance of a project, complexity and scale. So STS is a great tool to think through those questions with your team. And once you got that set of answers that that makes sense, that work for you, then from there to a document like that, it's going to be just a push of a button. So let me see if I had something else. I don't think I did, but yeah. So I covered strategy asset, planning asset, and in-person brainstorming events. So these are the updates. There's more coming. We are going to be able to extract content from assets. Also think about taking the PDF of your company strategy plan from last year, putting it into a board automatically without having to copy paste the content, and then interrogating that board and using if it's a very large document, or if you have a large collection of, let's say, all of your project after action reports from the past 5 years. We also going to implement RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation, but that will be later, maybe April, probably more May for the RAG component. But importing and exporting project assets, that is just around the corner. We're probably a few days, if not a week or two, from making that available to you all.
Chris, you have a couple of questions. Jennifer had dropped in the chat a question if we have to provide a template, then map a board for a board to assets. And then Gary has a question too.
All right. So the way we're doing you're correct, Jennifer. There needs to be a mapping, but the mapping is a very intuitive one, right? It's essentially, if you have a table header that says vision and you have a list in the board that says vision, that's all it needs, right? STS will figure out that, oh, there's table heading, list heading, it's the same thing. Let's put that content there. And that's it, right? So we've tried to make it so that it kind of figure out how you would like the data to be integrated. Thus far, I've used the same same mapping mechanism that I just described for 4 different clients, 4 completely different documents, same piece of code. The document themselves, they don't have any macros, they don't have any code in the document. It's just a plain Word document with headings, and then STS figure things out from that perspective. If you have a board that has content that matches the headings on that document, it will do the mapping automatically. And I have a little bit of experience having worked with fiscal reports and all kinds of other ways of putting system content into documents, and it's always been a nightmare. I think the way we're doing it now, I think you'll find pretty intuitive and robust. But I'll be really looking forward to your feedback once it's available, and you tell me if you find it as easy as I hope that it is. Gary, you had a question?
Well, I really like the ask and find, and I think you're building a knowledge base here the further you get into this.
Yeah.
But my question is that, we've got that our bold future where it's really the brainstorming. I like where you're going there, because right now what we're doing is we're taking that one document after they've completed the document and giving it to ChatGPT and saying, give us 3 MTPs.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to do that, I'm pretty sure, right here in
Yep.
STS.
Yep. Absolutely.
Good progress.
Thank you. Long hours.
I know. This isn't easy.
No, it's really hard to make it sound easy.
But when you finish, it has to have what we call FM. And I'll tell you what, the M stands for magic. You can figure the rest of it out.
Okay. The rest we'll lose our license to use Zoom
Yeah.
if you say it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so don't say it. All right. It's fabulous, probably. Any other question? There's a question about an EXO consultancy. Ben, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, so Jonathan's a good question. So, and this is actually ties it into some of the other questions that were in the registration, and I could leave this open too. I can definitely help with this, like on this next couple minutes, but also beyond. So regarding an EXO consultancy, maybe everybody here knows what that means, but if not, it's just a consulting framework to help an organization grow exponentially by using certain attributes, like say different technologies, like say dashboards or community and crowd and so on. And so, Jonathan, what I've done, and I use this to help with the working group, the AI working group, was create the different steps to go through in order to say create an MTP. The MTP was brought up already, Gary. So massive transformative purpose. But once you go through these particular steps that I created on lists and different frames, you develop your own MTP. But then I would take, say, the company context, say STS, what we do, who our target market is, where we're located in the world, what our technologies are, et cetera, and our MTP, and then I'd say, give me recommend the attributes that I should be following in order to become an exponential organization. And I've also built out boards that are specific to each one of those. So like community and crowd, how can STS within our context build out our community and crowd in order for this to be one of our attributes? So then just following the steps, the framework, as outlined from the books, and you can look online and do research or your own experience, your own framework for developing out those different attributes. It works really well. It's a perfect fit for STS, in my opinion.
Is that something that's also available to this group, or is that something you're private here?
Yeah, I could definitely share it with you, Laura.
Thanks.
So yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's something I share with the working group itself, but I have to share here. Francis.
One thing I want to add is that, as Ben mentioned, I think I do agree that STS is a perfect fit for this type of scenarios. And essentially, when you think about what I just showed from Gary's process, Gary and his team, they've created like a set of steps and a set of deliverables, and it looks like we're going to be it's going to be a significant positive impact to their practice when they have all of that integrated into STS, and we're working towards that certainly. But we're also working with Charlie, who's here on the call, on doing something similar with the Gazelle scaling up methodologies, and also looking at the perspective of creating all kinds of assets related to the PMI, Project Management Institute. You can think about also Strategizer, business model canvas. There's the lean business model canvas. All, like, if you go to Miro.com and you have they have all of these templates, but they are, sorry, but dumb templates, right? STS, what we are doing is we're building the knowledge base that allows you to not only fill those templates, but also interact with them with an AI that understands who you are and what you're trying to accomplish because of that knowledge base that you've built in STS. So I think these are all very exciting developments.
And you can even envision, building out your templates and then speaking to your client, adding your client's context, and then just running them through all of those templates and then having a conversation around those.
Yeah, agile frameworks, Laura mentioned, like any way of structuring, like I think it's Paul Shea, when we first starting discussing about this, Paul is probably my oldest, not by age, but by number of years of collaborating together, my oldest contributor to STS. He's been with us with me from the very beginning 4 years ago. And one of the first things that he told me is that any consultant that's worth its salt knows how to take any problems and divide it into 4 quadrants, right? But yeah, I mean that's the kind of thing that how should I put it? As consultants, we've done that all of our career, but now with AI and with the knowledge base that the facility that we're building in STS, I think that we can finally like bring it to another level of performance and effectiveness. Effectiveness. Gary?
Francis, you mentioned PMI, and we have found without project management, process management, and change management, it's impossible to execute EXO. So, just as a thought, why don't you think of those 3 as special agents? And we
Yeah.
build out a project management agent, a Lean Six Sigma process management, and a change management agent. And we've got the people to help you with the content if you can provide the framework.
We have a project management agent, just have to turn it on.
Okay, good. Well,
but yeah, I mean, I'm sure with your experience and with your team and all of that, I mean, I'll love to be able to see how we can bring your ideas to the broader community.
we've called it the transformation triangle. And it's amazing how it takes 3 things generally to break out of the corporate, I guess, gravity or immunity.
Immune
The
system.
immunity every corporation has, and those 3 things tend to break you out of that immunity.
So, Gary, I've spent a lot of time in this area too, and I just sent to Priya some of the templates for process engineering just about a few moments ago, and project management, and I just brought up my old decks on change management. So I've got all those intellectual pieces of capital. I just got to get it into the STS model.
And what we've done is put it in Notebook LM and then give the summary out of that. And we're here to collaborate. Anything that we've got, if you can take it to another industry and help us improve what we've got, that's why we're here.
Nice.
And I'm really appreciative of that, but also I want to like tell you all here that we're not there yet, but I think we're at the point where we should start to have really build up our user base significantly. We're getting very close to 500 users now registered in the platform. But really, one thing that we want is we want to not only respect, but also provide you an opportunity to monetize your intellectual property. So if you build something of value and you want to put it into STS, we'll figure out a way to track our usage and adoption. And if that's something that people love, that we'll make it sure that you benefit from that. Not only from an attribution perspective, but as we start to scale up from a financial perspective also.
You want to monetize the intellectual property?
So let me give you a very concrete example. Let's say Charlie puts into STS a change management colleague, assistant, right, or perspective, and it could be different. It could be different things. Maybe it's a template. Maybe it's an asset. Maybe it's a colleague's perspective. So let's say that he puts that, makes it available to everyone as people start using it. And we can make it part of a premium offering where every time someone uses it, Charlie can make a little bit of money. Or Charlie can make it by invite only and only share it to people who pay for his very expensive consulting fees, right? Or whatever, right? So essentially what we want, like I mentioned Miro earlier. If you read through the fine print, because when I started STS, my first idea was to put STS inside Miro.com, because I thought like they already have cards and they already have most of what I need. They have too much, in my opinion. It's too fancy, and people get lost in the colors and fonts and aligning boxes. But it's a great tool. Like and I wanted to put my work on STS in there, but then I read the fine prints, and everything you put on Miro belongs to them. If they like what you do, they can sell it to others. You get zero. So
Not a good deal.
we're not those people. So if you do something of value and put it into STS, have a conversation with us, and we'll figure out a way to share on the proceeds.
Francis, we're short on time, but
Yep.
Alderico has asked about webhooks and APIs and where they are on the roadmap.
Sorry, what's the question?
Alderico wants to know, can I integrate other tools via API or webhooks? And if not now, are they on the roadmap?
So the answer is not now, but if you have actual use cases, we can make it happen pretty quickly. So yes, it's on the roadmap. It's on the, I'm gonna say right now it's not April, but it could be May or June, if that's something that will make a difference for you. We do have already plans to integrate with a survey company. We have a partner company called Plan Monarch. They do employee surveys. So we've done with them. I think we surveyed 1,000 employees, got 7,000 like plain text comments on 50 different questions, and then we can process that through STS. So right now we're doing that with the loading and offloading of information, but we want to make that through an API. There's been discussion about integrating STS with Salesforce, Jira for project management, your Google Drives, SharePoint drives. So all of these things are, we want to go through all and implement all of that. It's just a matter of if you have a client, if you have a use case, if you have budget, we can put that on top of the list.
Yeah, for example, can be interesting to add like Zapier of Publi that are universal. So I think that those two tools can be very useful.
Yeah, that's
you solve most of the problem.
Zapier. What was the other one?
Publi. It's Indian. It's Indian tool. Very.
Yeah, can you put the link on the chat? Because there was another one that we were looking at, but it's not Publi. So make.com is the one that we had discussed internally.
I don't like it.
You don't like make.com?
No. Wait.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that. We'll look into that.
Just out of interest, Zapier has a new AI integration. I don't know if anyone has spent time looking into it. So they've done some.
Yeah, you make a call, and 80% of the time it goes to the right other application.
It's too expensive, Zapier.
Yeah.
It does get expensive quick.
Yeah.
Okay. So Thank you, Priya, for dropping your link there. If you have a specific use case, you can book a call with Priya there. You can also reach out to me. I think you all have my email address. Any other last pressing issues? We're already 9 minutes over, so I want to respect everyone's time. I have recorded this. I will post it on YouTube so you can review it with the link. And this is the launch of a new series now. So we will be doing this again next week and the week after. So this is every Tuesday. So as we're growing our user base, we want to make sure that everybody gets on the platform, is very comfortable with it right away and starts using it. The team, the STS team uses it every day. We want to share the love. Thank you, Jonathan, for that. Because we love the platform, we'll make sure everybody else knows how to use it and get the most out of it. So that's really why we're here. So don't hesitate to reach out. And so we can make sure that it becomes a key, powerful tool for you too.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
See you.
Thanks. Thank you so much for your input. Thank you, Francis. Thanks, Priya. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Ciao.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a great week. Bye-bye.